While the actual events that take place during the story of Prey are fascinating in their own right, potentially the lore of what happened before the game takes place is even more interesting, and most of the people who have played the games don't even know about it. You see, the universe of Prey is actually an alternative timeline of our real world, where in 1958, during the space race between the United States of America and the Soviet Union, the Soviets launched a satellite called Verona 1 into orbit. But 2 years later, in 1960, all transmission signals from the satellite immediately ceased, and so a secret covert ops mission was launched where the Soviets sent rescue probes into space to see what had happened, only to discover that Verona 1 had actually made first contact with alien organisms called the Typhon, which had slaughtered all the cosmonauts on board. This discovery was kept top secret for 2 years, but eventually in 1962, realizing the threat that these alien life forms might pose, the Soviets reached out to John F. Kennedy for assistance from the Americans in figuring out this potentially massive threat. So in secret, behind the backs of the peoples in both opposing nations, the rival countries' main priorities became understanding this new alien force, which resulted in the founding of what was known as the Kletka program in 1963, which by the way in Russian means prison or gate. A massive space dome was constructed around the original Verona 1 satellite that still contained the living aliens on board, and this dome was meant to shield the rest of the world from the Typhon threat. But back on Earth, the Soviets betrayed the Americans and initiated a failed assassination attempt on JFK, which resulted in the Americans taking full control of the Kletka program and pushing the Soviets out. With their newfound complete control of what was the most mysterious power in the universe, the United States government launched a new top secret and highly funded program called Project Axiom. Massive mining and research operations were set up on the moon in order to gather the raw materials needed to construct a research station around the now imprisoned Verona 1 satellite. And for decades after this, the United States studied the Typhons and their power, which is originally where the technology for the neuromods and so many other things in-game came from. But in 1984, this massive research project was finally shut down after many years of deaths and near outbreaks, along with massive budget deficits and a concern from top government officials that the program was not yielding any beneficial results. So for over 40 years, the station sat dormant in space with no activity going on that we know of, until in 2025, the massive private company known as Transtar was able to outbid rival company Casma Corporation in order to obtain rights to the station. Morgan Yu, who we play as in-game, is actually the son of the founder of Transtar, with Alex Yu being our older brother who we talk to throughout the game. Now in full control, Transtar also resumed operations on the moon mining bases that had sat dormant since 1978, and started to build out yet another station around the previous two. This new space station was dubbed Talos 1 and served as a massive research facility and also lounge for Transtar employees and directors, along with anyone else visiting the new and improved station full of beautiful architecture that we see a lot of in-game. And this is where the story we actually play along in Prey takes place, with the opening line of the game, "Hello Morgan. Today is March 15th, 2032, being the day that Morgan was sent to travel to Talos 1 in order to meet his brother regarding some of the research they were doing on the station." It's crazy just how awesome and deep a lot of the Prey lore is that many people don't even know about, because it really is some of the best and coolest sci-fi lore I've explored yet in my entire Iceberg series, with a massive set of 3 different space facilities built around one ancient Soviet satellite. And it also gives so much context to the game and why we see such a variety of places and styles the deeper we go into the station, and provides so many decades of rich lore and mystery to pull from.